Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm Maximum Michael Moon.
And I am Damien DeShanto.
Welcome to episode 84, Raw!
Woo! Raw is War.
First Raw. Raw 1.
Raw 1.
Wow.
Very first episode of Raw, produced by the WWF. It would take place on January 11th, 1993, at the Grand Ballroom at the Manhattan Center in New York City.
Yeah.
New York City.
Get a rope.
Mm-hmm. How long did they shoot here?
Quite some
for a
time.
while.
Okay, because I know that from catching like old clips of shows here, and then this is the same building that they did One Night Stand in, right?
Most of their New York
Yeah.
small
Medium shows,
Yeah.
little guy shows. I mean, it's a cool looking building. It's kind of a weird building for wrestling because it almost looks too nice. But that's why it is unique in that it's like it looks cool. It's a cool looking spot. But
It was definitely cool to see again because I haven't actually seen the old setup, heard the old music and everything, and probably since one of the
been a while since you saw those
25th
Ica
anniversaries
Pro
or
flags.
something like that. What's that?
It's been a while since you saw those Ica Pro flags.
Oh, they're beautiful.
It is a pretty solid logo, honestly. Straight and to the point.
But with us being in New York City and it being the first Raw, Shane brought us something a little different.
A little different. All right, so yeah, the World Food Tour with Shane here at WHX continues on with the first Monday Night Raw in New York. Typically, I would do something that represents the city that or the state that the show takes place from, but
Boiled
I decided
hot dog.
Can't find a good
Boiled hot dog anyway.
boiled hot dog in Oklahoma apparently. No, I decided to go with a theme this time. It's Raw, and so what better to go with Raw than eating something that's raw? Thought about sushi. Thought about just bringing some vegetables, but I decided that we'd bring a hybrid. We have a tuna tartare, brought to us by my friends at Republic Gastropub here in Oklahoma City, another member of the Good Egg Dining family. It is delicious. Chunks of tuna, fried jalapeno and onion, some avocado relish, a little sriracha vinaigrette, and then comes with some tortilla chips. So it's like a amped up, jacked up, fancy guac in a way. Good heat, good smooth, good crunch.
All those things, definitely.
Yeah. I'm all about, uncooked fish. So maybe we should just keep watching episodes of Raw and see how this one turns out.
If it's as delicious as this bite that I just had, I'm happy to rewatch again and again.
Absolutely. But while they're still kind of chewing down on their food, something that happened around the same time, Miss Audrey Hepburn would actually pass away a week later in her sleep from abdominal cancer.
Ooh, I've never even heard of anybody have abdominal cancer.
But the reason kind of brought her up,
So the First Lady of Cinema. I don't know if that's anybody ever called her that, but, I just did.
is that she's actually one of 16 people to win the EGOT.
Ooh.
Or a EGOT winner, I guess. I don't know really how you would.
Yeah.
She's won an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony.
Tony's for musicals or something?
For musicals.
Yes. Okay.
Musical or live theater.
She would win her Oscar in 1953 for Roman Holiday as Best Actress.
Nice.
Her Tony in the next year for Best Actress in a play called Ondine, which she did. But then her Emmy and her Grammy actually wouldn't come until she had already passed away.
Oh, wow.
She won her Emmy in 1993, so literally a few months later. She had a basically a docuseries that was on PBS covering Gardens of the World. And she would win an Emmy for that.
Say Gardens?
Gardens.
All right. That sounds like a pleasant watch.
And then she had a spoken word album that basically telling kids stories. It was called Audrey Hepburn's Enchanted Tales. That's she would
cute.
win a Grammy for in 1994.
Wicked.
I mean, yeah.
I guess I didn't realize.
Do you think that she
was
actually
an
wanted
EGOT.
to do that, or they were just like, record this kids album? There's no way you won't win. It's a spoken word album. Like they're like, yeah, well, you know, this year it's going to her.
I
Like,
don't know if
it's like
back
her
in
and Raffi.
94, like they were like EGOTs. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
I mean, I think Whoopi had already won hers by then. I might be wrong.
possibly.
Whoopi has
Can't
an
remember
Oscar?
when she got. Whoopi's got.
Ghost.
An
Oh,
EGOT,
really?
Yeah.
I always just thought Ghost was a fucking joke, so I never even bothered watching it.
No, it was one of the movies
Because
of
it's
its time.
parodied so often that I thought that it was just one of those
She won it
things.
for Color Purple.
No, she was nominated for Best Actress for Color Purple,
Okay.
but she won the
So they gave it to
supporting
her for
actress
Ghost because they were like,
Because
well,
she
we
kicked ass
didn't
in
give
that
it to you then, so we'll give it to you now because the Oscars are dumb like that.
No, you got to watch Ghost. She's very.
She's very good.
I'm a big fan of
As my
Patrick
friend
Swayze.
Donald Faison, since I have to name drop people on other podcasts, as he would say, she is very
It's his gimmick.
deserving.
I'm more of a Sister Act 2 guy.
Oh yeah,
It's a great one
Don't
as
get me
well.
wrong.
Sister Act 2 is better than Sister Act, right?
Oh hell yeah!
I feel like I've seen it more. It was on TV.
You throw Lauryn Hill in there, and
Yeah, that's always a plus.
It's a fucking win, automatic.
But yeah, Audrey Hepburn.
I haven't watched much Audrey Hepburn. I said the name wrong. I worked at Blockbuster for all those years. I remember when the movie Sabrina came out with Greg Kinnear and Harrison Ford and the lady whose name I can't think of right now. But they showed clips of the original one with Audrey Hepburn. So I saw several clips of the original, but yeah, I've not watched much Audrey Hepburn in my time.
I've only seen Charade, and it's a real good time. It's a fun little mystery movie. I've seen clips of Breakfast at Tiffany's. I think everybody has.
Yeah.
But one day I'll watch it. Maybe tonight. Maybe my nightcap.
I agree. It's one of those like little pieces that I'm missing from my movie watching that I realize that it's there. Because I think the only one of her movies that I've seen all the way through is My Fair Lady, which is a great one. I know Shane had said that he'd seen the
I've seen the musical.
but
did it in
obviously
high school.
it wasn't her, but that's a great one.
You got to keep some of the classics away. You can't just like pile through everything. You got to keep some in the back pocket. Like there's plenty of classic movies where I'm like, I'll get to it eventually, and you know, it's not like it's gonna be less good now than it. Like if it's all the classics that hold up, they hold up. Like
Exactly.
you know, I finally got around to Chinatown the other day.
Nice.
It was fucking great. it held up just as well as you'd expect it to. So
Absolutely.
maybe it's Audrey's turn.
Well, let's go ahead and talk some wrestling. Talk Raw,
Yep.
number 1.
Chilly Streets.
Yeah, we come live from outside the Manhattan Center. Sean Mooney welcomes us. Bobby Heenan then walks by him to try and enter the building. But Mooney stops him, telling him that he got replaced
Oh, come on. Impossible.
by Rob Bartlett.
Oh, of course.
Oh, we'll get to that later.
And then Mooney tells him that it's sold out, so the Brain can't get into the building. Before we
bullshit.
cut to the intro video.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun, like, great cold open into, cool clip to get you pumped up.
How are you gonna deny the Brain? Come on now.
Because the brain's gonna make that nothing but entertaining.
Vince McMahon then welcomes us from ringside with Macho Man Randy Savage and Rob Bartlett as the announcers for the evening. And if you were wondering who Rob Bartlett was, he was a writer and performer on Imus in the Morning, doing impressions and stand-up comedian.
Yeah,
at
like
times.
Don Imus is, I believe his name's Don. But Don Imus is like the proto Howard Stern. He was like the edgy shock jock.
Yeah.
Before Howard Stern took that mantle on, and there was, I think, in the early '90s, a handful of those guys, but he was like extremely popular at the time. So it would only make sense we're in New York. Why not get Rob Bartlett?
I mean,
Bartlett.
I believe this decision was made to have him come in to, as we'll find out as we watch this show, Bartlett has no clue what's happening in a wrestling ring.
No. He just takes every chance he can to say something shocking, only to get like it downplayed by the other two guys. It's like, do you guys know who you hired? Like, he's just making, as offensive jokes as he could for what the show is, for like this wrestling show that's still like not Attitude Era. Like, he's like about 5 years too early, honestly. And I'm glad that he doesn't show up 5 years later.
Me too. I don't know if I'd say 5 years too early. I'm thinking like the way a lot of his jokes and things landed, he may have come about 5 years too late, because there's just, I don't know. We'll get to it as the show goes along.
Yeah, there's probably a few Bartlett jokes in here. Yeah, like maybe like 6 lines into my notes for the first match, it says Bartlett is a turd. I think I immediately text Matt and I was like, what's the deal here?
Yeah.
So our first match of the first episode of Raw, the Birdman, Koko Ware versus Yokozuna with Mr. Fuji.
Or as funny man Rob Bartlett kept saying, Yokozuna.
They also let us know that Koko was Gary Coleman. Vince McMahon finally agreed with him and said, yeah, he grew up. There he is. Vince McMahon just didn't know how to respond to these bad jokes, and he's not a funny man in the first place.
No, he's not. So Vince tells us that Yokozuna has yet to be knocked off of his feet as of this match. Yoko uses his power early on, just tossing Koko back off to a corner multiple times. Ware tries to come off the ropes with a shoulder block, but is just knocked down himself. Multiple Koko drop kicks, then comes off the ropes with a flying shoulder block, only for Yokozuna to sidestep him, and the Birdman goes throat first into the ropes. Yoko then hits a leg drop, throws him into a corner, and a butt splash before finishing him off with a bonsai drop for the pin and the win.
It's got an ass like an amphitheater, according to Rob Bartlett.
Yeah, you could show a whole movie on the back of that ass. I did like that, of course, Yokozuna intro is always great, but he grabbed salt, out of the power water bucket. Sumo noobs over here.
For real.
Honestly, I was kind of surprised with the Yoko gimmick that they really did actually put some effort into like at least looking at a sumo match or two to figure out what they needed to do to make it make it work. But I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I like that they added the...
I like that he no-sells the ladies and the flowers and all that. It's fun.
Yeah, the whole pageantry or whatever the hell you want to call it of...
Oh, pageantry for sure.
The ladies and the flowers and the... Yeah.
And the Fuji.
Beautiful touch. Yes, Fuji in a bathrobe.
That's a kimono, sir?
Sorry, I'm throwing my Rob Bartlett humor out here. So.
We then get a Royal Rumble promo, which will be in 2 weeks. Their time and ours.
Ooh.
And then we get some ring girls.
I totally forgot that Raw had ring girls, too.
To help get the crowd entertained.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have a show with squash matches on it. You might as well throw a cutie out there.
Oh, yeah.
Savage says he's thankful he has X-ray vision. So Bartlett wasn't the only one getting it on the back.
No, but my Macho always has those sunglasses on anyway.
So I just kind of wonder, back in these times when Vince is actually up front on camera, who is feeding them what to say? Do they have a script, or are they actually allowed to think on their own? I
mean, I think that Vince not knowing how to react to these jokes and Macho doing like a little bit better of a job is probably part of that. Like, I imagine Bartlett probably has some like one-liners written up that he's just like trying to get out because it feels so forced.
I mean, Pritchard's probably back there producing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Vince then throws it to a pre-taped video of Heenan hyping the arrival of the narcissist.
Is it They keep saying, I feel like there's no T. I feel like they keep calling him the Narcissus.
Yeah.
That is what they they call him.
It's so bad. Like, they kept calling him narcissist instead of the narcissist, or just the narcissist is good.
Yeah.
That's a good, but cutting out the and the T at the end is just like, it's a bad name.
Yeah, that's because that's what I have written down too, is
Yeah.
narcissist.
It sounds like a bad comic villain.
It very well might be.
I just felt bad for Bobby through that whole promo, because it's like a totally different version of Heenan. Yeah, we've seen him as the pleading manager before, but this just seemed totally off of the norm for Bobby.
Some of my favorite lines from the promo is he truly beyond perfect?
That's so good.
From another world.
Yeah.
Comparing Mr. Perfect to the narcissist is like ice cream to horse manure.
I love how Bobby's so funny all the time, but most of the things he says are, if anybody else said it, it's just absolutely stupid. It's just like coming from somebody that seems like they have like no understanding of the world or how words work, but somehow he like has this, the magic to pull it off.
And the last one here is Michelangelo could not capture on canvas the stupendous qualities of the narcissist.
Again, as much as I love Bobby, that segment I just don't feel fit him properly. That seemed like more of a genius category.
Don't compare him to the genius. I don't know. I didn't have a huge problem with it, but I wasn't excited about any of it. I'm just like, oh, Bobby's talking for a while. That's cool. But it didn't really pump me up for anything.
No, definitely not. So let's head off to our second match. The Steiner brothers of Rick and Scott versus the Executioners.
Woo!
Of Executioner 1 and Executioner 2?
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
One of those Executioners is Dwayne Gill.
Ooh, old
a.k.a.
Gilbert himself?
Gilbert.
Oh, okay.
Who knew he had a career in WWF long before Goldberg came along?
He's jobber to the stars?
That's exactly what he is.
Yep.
Bartlett asks which one is wearing the headgear, and that's when I realized that he didn't know wrestling at all.
Yeah.
If you've watched one match in your entire life,
He says they look the same, which is completely not true. The Steiner brothers are brothers, but they don't look very similar sitting next to each other. They even have like different haircuts. Rick is much shorter and has the giant goatee thing that distinguishes him, and the headgear. Like, they look good next to each other, but they don't look similar. No. It's not like Fatu and Samu, who like have the same exact look and are of like similar sizes and the same hair, where you could say that.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, why are you talking about that with the Steiners when the Executioner's over here in masks, you idiot?
Yeah, you throw out the Beverly brothers, and
I
still don't know which one is which.
Bev 1 and Bev 2.
Instantly, I know which one is Rick and which one is Scott after the first time I'd seen them.
So the match gets going. Scott hits a back elbow to take down one of the Executioners, followed by a tilt-a-whirl slam. And then we see Doink the Clown out in the crowd.
Oh, boo. Boo this man. Boo this clown.
Rick reverses an Irish whip, and the Executioner falls onto the ropes, followed by a Steiner line. Rick then hits a running power slam into a turnbuckle, and the Executioners try to regroup out on the floor, only for Scott to give them a double noggin knocker. Rick continues the attack with a power slam in the ring, Scott with a bear hug into a belly-to-belly. Scott then throws Executioner number 1 into his corner, so number 2 can come in, and he immediately is given a Tiger Driver.
Hell yeah.
Lifts him up onto his shoulders for Rick to come in with the top rope bulldog for the pin and the win.
Steiner brothers gotta, get over huge real quick.
Oh yeah.
What's with the Steiner's music here in WWF? It's like clown music.
Thank you.
It sounds like it should be Doink's music. It's really, really upsetting.
Yeah, I had a similar thing written down. I don't know if it was... I can't remember if that was their actual music or if that's just something that's been dubbed over onto the network or what.
But it's like some Barnum and Bailey shit.
Yeah, that's all I could think of. It was very
goofy.
Circus.
But, whatever. Not that important, but it's very shocking.
Yeah, they're more than their music, but come on now, get some better music.
I thought they used the Michigan fight song for when they came
I
out.
do this. This could not be a fight song.
So I think this was dubbed.
Okay.
Because I think they used the
okay.
Michigan fight song when they came out.
That makes sense because this is noticeably awkward.
Yeah, it doesn't fit two big, strong men walking down to the ring whatsoever. I mean, if it was the Michigan fight song, it was played on like, a kid's little synthesizer or something because it
was too jovial to be a fight song.
We then go back out to the outside of the building.
Poor Sean Mooney.
And
out there with the riffraff on the street.
This is the classic scene from Raw that gets replayed for the last 27 years.
Yep. A woman is being detained, so Shawn attempts to help her out, and she claims to be Rob Bartlett's aunt. But Mooney sees through the disguise, taking the wig off her, and it's the Brain!
Bobby Heenan! Oh, Bobby.
It's cute. It's fun.
It is. But what I really love is, I don't know if it's on purpose, but it probably is because it's Bobby Heenan, but I swear he says Rob Bartlett's name wrong every time.
He probably does, because he has no clue who he is.
I think he's called him Bob Bartlett once. I remember hearing a Ron Bartlett in there at somewhere, too.
Vince is then joined in the ring by Razor Ramon. And Ramon is the #1 contender for the WWF Championship. And he says that, "I was born ready, Chico. And when you say golden opportunity, that's got Razor Ramon written all over it." And then we see a highlight video of Razor attacking Owen Hart on an episode of WWF Mania, hitting him with a garbage can.
Boo. You leave Owen alone.
Right? What the hell did he do to you? He was just sitting there having an interview with old Ray.
He's the brother of Brett.
I mean, yeah, you gotta target it and
Jerk.
get your shot.
We then see a Tatanka promo for Headlock for Hunger.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about this one. Tonka, he's there.
We're off to our third match. Max Moon versus Shawn Michaels for the WWF Intercontinental Championship.
Vince McMahon lets us know that Shawn Michaels has a bit of an ego. Just a bit.
Just a bit.
Just a little bit.
A touch. A scotch.
So we haven't seen Max Moon before, but we have seen the man under the mask last at Royal Rumble 92, episode 66.
Almost a year ago. At least, in the kayfabe of the show.
As Kato, part of the Orient Express.
Oh, yeah.
So Kato, a.k.a. Paul Diamond, was actually not the first person to be given this gimmick.
I know the answer to this trivia question.
Who was it supposed to be?
On the spot.
I know. I was like, why can't I think of his name? It's K-Dog, Conan.
Conan. Yeah. But he was more successful in Mexico and just basically quit showing up to shows and said, deuces.
Yeah.
And so they ended up giving the gimmick.
I mean, I don't think Conan wanted to wear this costume. Can you, no. He's a big star down in Mexico. Conan, as time goes on, doesn't look as impressive, but young Conan is impressively ripped. Yeah. You're covering him up in this Saturday morning Tron costume.
Yeah, it's very much a Tron meets, I don't know, the
pool
animators
pool float
of the Jetsons trying to draw a predator.
What are the foam pool noodles?
Yeah.
It's made out of pool noodles.
So as the match gets going, Bartlett makes an Amy Fisher joke.
Yeah.
Very topical for 93.
Yeah.
While Shawn flips out of an atomic drop attempt, only for Moon to reverse it to try for an O'Connor roll. But Michaels holds on to the ropes. Max with multiple arm drags and a body slam, so Shawn takes a powder to regroup in the corner. Moon with a hammerlock as the show goes to commercial. And we are back, and Michaels charges into the corner, but Max moves, sending Shawn face first into a turnbuckle. Michaels recovers to slam Moon's head into a turnbuckle, Irish whipping to the opposite corner, only for Max to leap up and over, but Shawn catches him and rubber band slams him. A drop kick by HBK, while Vince starts talking about Jack Tunney trying to pardon Mike Tyson. And we once again see Doink back at ringside.
Oh, man. Is this around the time that Shawn Michaels looks to the camera and says, "This face has broken so many homes"? I was like, "Holy shit, man! This is that's you leave those for Bartlett. That's his lane."
Oh, Bartlett has his own.
He starts doing a really bad Mike Tyson
Oh
impression.
my god, it's bad.
Because it sounds actually more like Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would have been more. I'm sure that it was probably hilarious on your drive time commute when he was being probably a little bit more racy in '93. But on this wrestling show, I couldn't like it less.
Yeah, it was just the tone of his voice. It was like somebody today trying to do an impersonation of Michael Scott doing his impersonation of Mike Tyson.
Yeah, it's like how everybody can do Mickey Mouse, but nobody can do Mickey Mouse. Everybody can do Mike Tyson, but like nobody can really do Mike Tyson.
No.
Michaels with a headbutt goes for a body slam, but Max cradles him up for a near fall. Michaels with a back elbow goes for a drop kick, but Moon catches him and then catapults him over the top rope and to the floor. Max then comes off the apron with a Thez press and rolls Shawn back into the ring. Hits an uppercut, a spinning heel kick, and a rolling fireman's carry slam for a 2 count.
I know. I was like so surprised Max Moon was getting some shit in.
Yeah, Max Moon.
And Max Moon looks good here. These guys have like seems like they got some chemistry. It's a shame that this guy, has to wear pool noodles.
Normally I would insert the saying, "Thanks, Bill," but I'll say, "Thanks, Vince," instead.
Moon hits a body slam, goes for a senton, but Michaels moves out of the way and hits a super kick. Goes for a suplex, but Max floats out. Swings wildly, only for Shawn to duck and hit the teardrop suplex for the pin and the win.
They're not calling it a super kick yet, are they?
No,
I feel like they're just calling
like a
I-
crescent kick.
a crescent kick. I think.
I think Vince calls it a super kick on this show.
Does he?
Yeah.
I believe you, but I've just haven't really caught it clearly because I'm always waiting for it. Because like you see that and you're like, "Oh, it's a super
For the
kick."
longest time, they just called it a crescent kick, a thrust kick,
Yeah. Savat.
sabat kick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the other one. But
I was
it's-
happy to see the teardrop suplex. So it's been a long time since I've seen the Shawn Michaels classic finisher.
And I gotta love that baby blue IC belt. I love when they put a dumb colored leather behind a belt.
Hey, fun fact: Shawn Michaels' original music was Rhapsody in Blue. Yeah.
Interesting.
I guess the blue IC title just made that all of a sudden pop into my head. So
There you go.
You're welcome.
We then get an ad for WWF Mania, which was a fun 90s commercial.
Oh yeah, this commercial is pretty great.
And every time they say Mania, it throws me off because like it's not time for Mania yet. Because I don't know, I only have one Mania.
Yeah. Well, at this point in time, there was 1.5.
But what it is time for is the Royal Rumble Report with Mean Gene Okerlund.
Presented
Brought
by
to you
Icopro.
By Icopro.
Okay, yeah. You think
Care
we could
about
get
what you put in your body.
because Icopro's, what was the actual product? Was it like a 5-hour energy drink type of deal, but like proto that?
I thought it was just protein powder.
Is it just protein powder?
It's probably protein powder with like fen or something in it.
And we think we can get some off eBay? Maybe we have an IcoPro episode where we just chug IcoPro and talk?
Let's not say we did.
Come on. Maybe it's great.
I mean, I can try and make up stuff that would taste like what I imagine an Ico Pro protein shake tastes like, but
You remember like early, I guess around this time, like early 90s, like health food stuff? Like power bars. You remember how disgusting power bars were? Fucking absolutely awful. My God.
or you had your.
I got
little-
so many free power bars from like just events you went to as a kid. People were just handing them out, and man, they were awful.
These little fitness centers that would sell you these healthy cookies that were these ginormous things that you're supposed to drink with this big glass of water and substitute as a meal.
Yeah.
And it's like you're eating a fucking cookie for lunch.
Yeah, it's like, come on,
Issued
man.
to you by your gym that's
Yeah.
just trying to get you to come back and work that machine again.
It's like, no one's ever gonna, like, you don't have to, there's no fancy way to sell a salad. It's still a salad. But, everyone's dumb enough to eat a cookie and think that they're doing something good for themselves, because who doesn't like cookies?
Yeah. eat your cookie and, wash it down with a Slim Fast.
Mm-hmm.
Gene runs through the matches that are going to be on the card for the Royal Rumble. And then Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty cut promos on each other. And the question is, whose corner will Sherry be in?
Who indeed?
I don't know.
We then see Perfect, Yokozuna, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan all cut promos on winning the Rumble. And we're told the winner of the Royal Rumble will meet the WWF champion at the WrestleMania, which was the first time that stipulation had been in place.
Yeah, before that, it was just like, oh, cool, man.
You're the winner.
Yeah.
Like the first year, didn't they get like a bag of money or something like that?
I don't know, maybe like
cash prize, or maybe they got a trophy.
a check. Just a floppy check.
Get the big check.
I love a big check. I'm a big proponent of the big check.
You know what I love? I love
Sean
this.
Mooney on the outside.
Well, I love Sean Mooney on the outside. I mean, he's still out there, but I love the old-timey classic feel of the Royal Rumble report with Mean Gene.
Oh,
just because that's how I remember pay-per-views being promoted back then. Your beginning of the pay-per-views, Survivor Series, whatnot. Just that feel,
shot
that
of all of them and them doing their promo like as a team. We're gonna win.
Earthquake coming on the camera, already swaying back and forth, and it was beautiful, great, lovely memory.
We then go back outside. Sean Mooney's still there, and there's a line of people to get tickets for next week's show.
Hottest ticket in town.
And all of a sudden, a man with a long black beard bumps into Sean.
Oh my gosh.
He says he's Rob Bartlett's uncle.
I didn't know that Hasidic Jewish men were big wrestling fans. Takes all kinds of folks.
Exactly. And he needs to get inside. But the beard falls down while he's talking.
Damn it.
And guess who it is? It's
Rob-
Bobby Heenan again.
I thought it was Rob Bartlett's uncle.
Nope.
Old Bobby.
Old Bobby trying to play another trick.
That Sean Mooney's a wise one, I tell you.
Vince then throws it to a highlight package. And we see from this past weekend's WWF Superstars program, Kamala had just won a match. But Kimchi and Harvey Whippleman are berating him and shoving him. When all of a sudden, Reverend Slick would come running down to the ring.
And Slick looks great with a nice cut. He's like the best he's ever looked.
Yes.
He looks official for the first time.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Reverend Slick since SummerSlam 1991.
Damn.
All the way back in episode 59.
Felt like it'd been a while. Took him that long to get a haircut. It was a slow process.
When you're trying to shed your image of a bad 80s movie pimp, and
now
wanting
it
to
looks
come
like a
back
good
as
80s
Reverend.
movie pimp.
Slick would get in between Kamala and the two berating men and tell Kimchi and Harvey that it's over, only for Kimchi to punch out Slick. Kamala then would start slapping his belly and goes after Kimchi and Whippleman, chasing them back to the locker room.
Good on you,
Kamala
Cammy.
face turn.
And we're off to our fourth match. Damien Demento versus The Undertaker with Paul Bearer. Demento hails from the outer reaches of your mind.
I know, that's
I'm glad you caught
so
that.
good.
Damien throws some punches, goes for a back body drop, but Taker face plants him and slams him into a turnbuckle before hitting Old School. The dead man stays on the attack with chokes, Irish whips, but ends up charging into a big boot, which Demento follows up with a double axe handle and a leaping shoulder tackle, only for Undertaker to sit right up. Taker ducks a clothesline and comes off the ropes with a flying clothesline, lifting him up for the tombstone piledriver for the pin and the win. Vince then announces that Woody Allen and Mia Farrow would be in a steel cage match
Jesus.
next week.
They're trying real hard with this like shock jock crap,
Yeah.
and there's like they even made graphics for this. I couldn't believe it. I was flabbergasted.
I mean, there was a
So,
lot going on at the time.
I was like, I know this didn't happen because I feel
Yeah.
like it would be something that I would remember.
Yeah, there's no way it happened.
But I looked it up just to make sure.
Oh my god, I can't believe you even looked it up.
They're nowhere near Raw number 2.
Do we have Rob Bartlett doing a phone-in conversation, pretending to be one or the other?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't think we're covering Raw number 2. I don't know.
The main event, I'm okay.
I'll have to check the schedule.
Come back from commercial at that point, and Doink the Clown is with Vince McMahon at ringside. Vince brings up that Crush has warned Doink about making children cry, and Doink says, "If they don't have a sense of humor, that's their problem." And then all of a sudden, Crush makes his way out of the locker room. And Crush warns him to stop his stupid jokes, or he might be wearing a full body cast.
Brudda.
Yeah, brother.
But Doink pulls out a squirt gun and just sprays water in Crush's face. So the Hawaiian begins to chase him around ringside. It then cuts back outside to Shawn Mooney as Heenan is talking to a security guard behind them. And Shawn's like, "Yeah, you can go into the building now."
Yeah.
As credits come onto the screen.
Dick move, Shawn.
I know, the vignettes, so, I feel like I've seen this a million times, like the gimmick that they do with Shawn Mooney and Bobby Heenan, but it is one of the highlights of the show.
Yes.
Well, speaking of highlights of the show, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of Raw number 1?
We watched it. It was cool to watch the first one.
And there you have it.
Yeah, Max Moon, Shawn Michaels was really, really fun and much better than I expected it to be. I expected it to be like squash or close to squash, but it was a good competitive match. You never thought Max Moon was going to win, but he looked good and looked like somebody you could potentially try to build if he wasn't a pool noodle.
Much along those same lines there. I mean, I was watching it live back in the day on January 11th, 1993. I mean, it was great back then. It was a great change from the primetime wrestling that was on Mondays before Raw came along. You know, this was typically on Mondays you had just squash matches where it was, a main guy fighting a jobber. So this had more of a Saturday night's main event feel on a Monday, just without the intensity of Saturday night's main event, because usually when there was a Saturday night's main event, it was leading up to a pay-per-view or something like that, so they were pushing the final storylines and whatnot. And this one, much like with other great shows, it starts off slow with some character building up and whatnot, getting people familiar with the new format, and then it starts to roll on a few episodes down the line. But this one, it was good for what it was, but
you got to start somewhere. Could have started worse. Damien Demento has a really good look for considering, we're getting into cartoon territory here. Like, he looks good and mean. I don't know if he's just like...
Yeah, I had to look him up to see if he went on to be anyone else, or...
Yeah.
It didn't appear so.
It's like it seems like you spent some money on this costume and whatnot.
In the movie Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Oh.
So, in terms of importance to the history of wrestling,
yeah,
this show is a must-watch.
Yeah. 45 minutes of you'll be entertained. I was not bored.
In terms of what we saw on the show, not so much. As
historically,
there's only one match and the rest are squashes.
Yeah.
What, you mean the best color man of all time, Ron Bartlett's first appearance, is not historical?
I mean, it is in the context that it's on this show. I don't remember.
I don't even know if his name's Ron or Bob or what.
I mean, I was only 12 years old.
It is Rob, okay.
I was like 11, 12 years old at this time, so I probably didn't watch this. But, I mean, even for you, Shane, you said you watched this. To have watched it and then think back now that, there's been an episode every week
for 27 years.
For 27 years.
Yeah, wasn't there Raw 1000
kind of
a year or so ago?
Yeah, they're rolling up on 1500 here in the next year or so.
Yeah.
Damn. Pretty wild. So how long is old Ron Bob Bartlett around?
Not very long.
He doesn't make it to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I want to say Todd Pettengill or somebody else jumps in. I'm trying to remember names from the past. Todd Pettengill may still be a couple years away. And then I know somebody else comes along, but...
When does my favorite person ever show up?
Let's just say this is the only time we will
we'll
deal with
cover
Rob Bartlett.
All right. Well, then I'm sorry for wasting this precious time of yours, listener, bitching about this man.
If you watch episode 1 of Raw, you will totally understand.
You'll get all the Bartlett you need.
We're bitching about Rob Bartlett.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? There. All right. Fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So, best moments of this episode of Raw.
Bobby Heenan on the outside with Sean Mooney, Max Moon, Michaels.
The classic intro video.
Yeah, the classic intro video.
Classic
The
intro.
honestly, the Mia Farrow, Woody Allen graphic at the end, if I could...
It made you laugh, didn't it?
I would put that on a t-shirt and wear it, and people would not like that. But I would love to rock that on a t-shirt.
Now I'm gonna have to look to
it
see
is
if
very
it's-
funny.
It's possible that there's one out there for all we know.
Oh, I believe me, I
Did you
looked.
already?
Yes, if I can get the image and have it cleaned up, I would be willing to make them because I feel like if I had any kind of following, I guess that's what Reddit's for. You can just post it on Reddit, and put it and sell probably get rid of at least 100 of those things. You might have a project coming up.
Yeah, best moments, the opening intro, hearing the old school music, and then that Royal Rumble report. Yeah,
Yeah, I love the
it
green
took me
screen.
back to another time and another place that I haven't been to in a long time. So it was great.
Yeah, the Mean Gene Green in front of the green screen for that looked like one of the news segments from RoboCop is what it made me think of, which is always something I want to think about.
So, most disappointing. I mean, it's obviously Rob Bartlett.
Yeah, but I can't be too disappointed. It's the first Raw. I think that it was.
Yeah.
They were trying something.
Yeah, totally. I'm not mad at this at all.
I don't know, my disappointment, and I love him to death. Great guy from when I was a kid. But the first superstar that you have walk out to the ring for your opening match on the first episode of Raw. And granted, I'm sure they didn't realize it was going to become the longest running episodic show in television history, but Koko Ware is the first superstar that you see just
throwing shade at Koko.
It's his claim to fame.
I love Koko.
No, Frankie. I mean, he's doing high energy right now. That's fun.
But then in comparison, and maybe it gave the next new Monday night show to come along something to build from and wow people with. But you got to remember what the first match on Nitro was.
Yeah, but
Michael's mentioned it a few times.
we can't just talk about.
I mean,
putting
having Yoko at the beginning, awesome. But give me somebody. Yeah, if he's gonna squash somebody, that's great. But give me somebody a little more oomph than Koko.
I don't know. I'm pro Koko. I'm a Frankie fanatic.
Best performer of the night.
Max Moon.
Actually, I kind of agree with you.
Max Moon impressed the shit out of me.
Not
Him and Shawn.
expecting anything
Yeah, him and
out
Shawn can. We can snap that gold medal in half. They can each take half of it. Or they. Yeah.
I gotta throw it to, even though I dogged his Narcissus promo, I gotta throw Bobby a little love.
Bobby's a good choice as well.
Bobby's always at the top of outside of people that don't wrestle. He's always anything he's involved in. He's you can put him on the short list.
I mean, hell, even Vince McMahon for not firing old Bartlett on the spot.
I actually kind of like
That's the
Vince.
most surprising thing.
I like Vince as a commentator. He's not my favorite or anything, but I think that he's good.
He has the passion in his voice that he wants everybody else to have. That's what always pulled me in when I was younger.
He's trying to put everything over and doing it pretty well. It would be helpful if he, knew a little bit more about wrestling moves, but at the same time, look at Gorilla and Bobby when they don't call moves. They call moves the wrong thing all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't know the names of the tag team guys. So it's I can't hold, just because those guys I find more entertaining on the mic, I can't dog on Vince for being less entertaining or entertaining in a different way.
Anything surprising on this show?
the crass jokes. I didn't expect that to be a thing. So like for 93,
I
was like,
that's probably the surprising thing as well.
yeah, I
It's
mean, not to beat a fucking dead horse, but it was surprising. Like that, honestly, the Woody Allen Mia Farrow joke at the end was extremely surprising. When that graphic hit, I crapped a little. I was like, what the fuck? Because we'd already done like these jokes, but they actually like they took time to produce this image. Not that it was probably very difficult, but still, what the hell? Also, I expected Max Moon to just not to go on as long, and I'm glad that it did go on as long as it
absolutely.
went.
I can't think of anything that's overly surprising for me on it. I mean, I guess I can play off of the Max Moon thing and the fact that he gave more than I was expecting him to, or more than I remember him doing in the ring. 'Cause I don't know. It's too hard for me to get around that whole getup that they have him stuffed into. You want me to pay attention to what he's doing in the ring, but then you have all these distractions that he's wearing that makes me, stop looking at what I should be looking at and focus on his.
Can't keep your eyes off him. He's bright blue, man.
His noodles and his predator hair.
Yeah, can you imagine if Jesse was on commentary?
Well, you know something, Bobby. What you need to do. Back in
Yeah.
1987, what I did was I grabbed him by the hair like this.
Mm-hmm.
No, you didn't.
Making their way to the ring.
It's trivia time.
Woo!
I'm
1-0 me.
Yep.
We got 5 points last week.
Maximum Mike Moon with 5. Oh, I have 5 points.
All right,
Oh,
Mike, if you
my
only
God.
want one, that's fine.
I'll
take
take.
4.
I'm gonna need him. I don't think that I'm gonna keep this lead for like.
Each question has a numerical value.
Yeah.
Great, so I'm going to win a ham sandwich.
We
So
got a
this
real
week-
ham and egger over here.
This week, the category is What's in a Name?
It's just a name, a name, a name, a name. What's in a name?
Basically, I'm going to give you the real name of a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to tell me which wrestler that is.
Okay.
So, both of you can score 5 points if you can name it without me giving you multiple choices. But if you need the multiple choices, you can only win 3 points.
Okay.
So here's one question I have before we start the question.
Yes.
Are these wrestlers that we have already covered so far on the podcast?
Just wrestlers from 83 to
Okay.
92.
Making sure.
Everything trivia-wise is 83 to 92.
Perfect.
Okay. So how are we answering? Is it like whoever says it first, or do I need to raise my hand?
Yeah, just raise your hand or say your name or...
Okay. Or just blurt the answer out. Yeah.
Just like,
If you want to take a guess...
Tap my plate.
If neither one of you guess, then I'm going to be like, I guess you guys want multiple choice.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
I have multiple choices ready for you. So which wrestler's real name is Charles Bernard Scruggs? I mean, you only have to think through 348
I know.
wrestlers.
well, and there I'm stuck because I'm just sorting through the 54 that I had said last time.
All 54 that you said went through your head before you just came up with the answer. I got 78. My pool's a little bigger.
I know I've heard this name, or I think I have.
Charles Bernard Scruggs.
Charles Bernard Skaggs.
Skaggs.
Sorry.
Wait a second.
Charles Bernard Skaggs.
Anyone
Want to make a guess? Or would we like to go to multiple choice?
Like if I make a guess, is that my only guess, or
Yes.
Okay.
Oh man, that's where I'm stuck because I'm like, is that the name of? It's close. The last name is close to somebody, but I don't know what to. I don't know if I want to say it because when the multiple choice comes up, then we can. What do like?
You can still both give an answer.
Yeah, but then I won't get any points.
You'll get 3 points if you get it right.
Oh, even if I throw out an answer now and it's wrong,
If you get it wrong,
then I don't get
no
nothing.
points.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to say it. I guess we'll go multiple choice.
Yeah, let's go multiple.
Multiple choice. And they are in alphabetical order.
Okay.
Great.
Too Cold Scorpio, Tony Atlas, The Barbarian, or Van Hammer.
I'm gonna go C.
He's going The Barbarian.
I'm gonna go then with.
I have no clue.
I know it's not C.
I'm glad I didn't say what I was gonna say.
What was the middle name again?
Charles Bernard Skaggs.
Bernard Skaggs.
I mean, why would he change his name? What a great wrestling. Chucky B. Skaggs.
All right, I'm gonna say it's not C, it's not D.
You're going Tony Atlas with B?
I'm stuck on one or two, A or B, but
I have no reason why I picked the one I picked. I was just like, why not?
I'm gonna go A.
Shane's going Too Cold Scorpio. And Shane scores 3 points this week.
Good
I
on
knew
you,
it
bud.
wasn't. I knew it wasn't Barbarian because his is like Simeon or something like that. Something that starts with an S.
Sibby.
I thought
Simeon. It's like
it's Samoan.
Samoan. Next week, Battle of the Belts. Our first Eastern Championship Wrestling show.
I'd never watched any Eastern Championship wrestling shows, so this will be a treat.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
I'm not here to bury the lead, but it's a whole thing.
Music from this week's show is Monday Night Raw. And the theme music you're hearing right now is The Funeral March by Jim Johnston. That's Undertaker's theme. He was in the main event, so
There you go.
we'll play it.
That bell tolls.
One. Max Moon theme song. I don't believe there was one.
I'm just glad it's not the Steiner's theme song.
Go out there and rate and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcasts at. You can always email us any questions, comments, concerns, recipes. We're going to Philly for Battle of the Belts.
Yes, we're going back to Philly, and last time I didn't make, but we had Philly cheesesteaks, so we'll need something other than cheesesteaks.
Exactly. Or you can always hit us up on Twitter at Wrestling HistoX. That's Wrestling HISTO.
X.
We'll talk to you next week.
Laters!